All right. You are good to go.
All right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Justin McAdam. I'm the chairman of the Distressed Unit Appeal Board. Thank you all for joining us today. We have a few items of business today. Before we do that, I need to call the meeting to order. Recognize that we do have a quorum and have posted notice of the meeting in accordance with the open door law. One quick amendment to our agenda for today. We are going to hold the transportation contract just briefly to give ourselves a little more time to review it. It is a rather lengthy contract, so we want to make sure we have time to give it the diligence that's required. With that, we'll move to our first item of business. I will remind listeners on the phone that we do, as we do at all our meetings, we will take public comment today after the approval of the minutes. So if you do wish to provide public comment, please message Courtney and she'll make sure to get you in the queue. With that, our first item of business is the approval of the January 28th, 2021 meeting minutes. Everyone's had a chance to review those. Are there any changes or comments on the minutes? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the minutes as submitted.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes, on the motion? All right, hearing none. Courtney, would you call the roll?
Yes. Paul Joyce?
Yes.
Wes Bennett?
Yes.
Tracy Brown?
Yes.
And Justin McAdam?
Yes.
Okay, 4-0.
All right, thank you. Our next item of business is our public comment period. Courtney, do we have anyone signed up for public comment today?
Yes, I have 5 individuals who have signed up.
Okay.
So let me switch over first to the timer.
As a reminder, just while you're doing that, we do ask people to contain their minutes to 3 minutes. Courtney will have a timer up so that you can keep track of that, and we will provide a verbal notice if you approach the 3-minute time.
Okay. All right. So first on the list, I have Darian Patton Strasser. I'm going to go ahead and unmute your line. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. We can hear you.
Okay, so I just wanted to give a brief, quick, just an overview of how Return and Learn has been. It's been very non-stressful, so I'm grateful for our administration and everything that they have put in place for us, everything they have given us, just to keep us at peace of mind, and to also keep our scholars at a peace of mind. Everything has been very smooth, so we are very grateful here at me individually. I'm grateful because I am not stressed out or anything, so I definitely appreciate everything they have done for us. The school has been very clean. We appreciate the Wednesdays that they give us to stay home so that they can clean the entire building, so we appreciate that as well. So I just wanted to give that quick comment and just say how thankful and grateful I am for the smooth return to learn.
Thank you for sharing that. Are you a student at one of the schools?
No, I'm a teacher. I'm a middle school 7th grade math teacher.
Fantastic. Well, it's great to have you. Thank you for serving our students there.
No problem. Thank you.
Next is Robert Buggs. Let me unmute you, Mr. Buggs. All right, Mr. Buggs, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent. We can hear you. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I just have a few things to say. Recently, there was a complaint filed by one of the parents, and she contacted me as an NAACP legal redress investigator. That I could not be an advocate for her, be a part of the meeting they have later on today. Now, it's my understanding that there are certain guidelines that the emergency manager has over the confidentiality of the student. But if the parents give their permission, then I think there's a problem with, seems like we're in a dictatorship. if the parent says it's okay, and she wrote a letter to Chairman McAdams that there was some things that I was told by her that's not a part of the written complaint. But still, 2 emails were sent to the parent saying that I could not be a part of the meeting, and I would just like to know why. Because she has a right to have anybody that she wants to be advocate for her, since she told me a lot of stuff that went on. And again, she came to me as a NAACP legal redress investigator. She didn't know at the time that I was even on the school board. But since it is a school issue, and we've had similar complaints of students not being provided medical care and some being injured by some of the staff at the school, and every time I file a complaint, you all send it back to the person that I'm complaining about. And that's wrong. So we're not getting any resolve. And this current complaint, there's been a lot of misinformation given out. But I'll let the parent explain that herself. But I would like to know why I'm not allowed to conduct my investigation as NAACP or as the president of the advisory board. I was elected to look out for the best interest of the students and their parents. And you got one person saying that I can't do that, even with the parents' permission. So we have a lot of things that needs to be addressed. None of our complaints that went down to DUAB has been addressed. They go back to the person that we're complaining about. That is wrong. So I would like to have a meeting. Eric Parrish still has not come up here for us to ask them some questions. And that's wrong. This is becoming like a great big dictatorship. And that's wrong. If nobody else can see it, I can, because I'm a recipient of it. So that's all I have right now. I don't have enough time for the other stuff that I want to go into. But we did send some letters to, she wanted her complaint to go to Chairman McAdams, because we submitted complaints I have personally to Courtney, and some parents met with her 2 years later. She still never got back to me or the parents. And I filed a complaint against Dr. Pete Marikis, and that one was sent back for him to resolve. So we need to get this straightened out. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Next, I have Angela Davis. Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Excellent. We can hear you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, and good afternoon again. We'll be old friends by now. A couple of things I'd like to say. One is, I'm in Gary. Our school started on the 21st, this past Monday. Now, with the coronavirus numbers, quite frankly, I was kind of apprehensive about sending the kids back to school. However, I'm pleased with the PPE equipment that's in place and the new safety measures that are in place. So all these things are very important for the students coming back, and I would encourage all parents to send your kids back to school, because the Gary Community School System is working very hard to make everything safe, not only for the students, but for the teachers as well. So with that, I'll close, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Next, I have, reset this. Next, I have Mr. Henderson. Give me 1 second to unmute you. All right, Mr. Henderson, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. We can hear you.
Okay. First, I just want to thank for this opportunity to be able to speak. I want to speak on the return to learn for Gary Middle School VPA. I want to say, as a teacher, building sub, permanent building sub for this building, that they are doing a phenomenal job with doing things to make sure that we are safe as staff, and that our scholars are safe. For one, providing PPE to the staff and to the students to make sure that they are socially distanced from each other, and then taking care of the necessary precautions or all of the information about washing hands and staying distant, even how they're doing with their lunches, to make sure that even if they're having lunch with each other, they're distant and are able to stay safe. I believe they've done a phenomenal job, and I feel safe as a staff member, and I've spoke with several students, and they feel safe as well, and I just want to commend them and the state for helping them to make sure it's necessary for our scholars to be the scholars that they are of today. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Okay. Next, I have Councilman Godwin. Councilman Godwin?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes,
we can hear you.
Perfect. Well, I'm Councilman William Godwin, President of the Gary Common Council. And while we have no authority over the school corporation, we certainly have a relationship with the corporation. We're happy about the return to school. We're happy about the success of our referendum that passed in November. And we look forward to continuing to engage well with Dr. McNulty, who's done a very good job of keeping in touch with council persons and being available to us. I will also say that at the end of last year, the Common Council passed a resolution stating very clearly that we don't want any more charter schools. There have been some talk about Purdue doing a charter school in the city of Gary, a new high school. We are not in support of that, but we are in support of Purdue and IU or any other great institution partnering with our school corporation. We want to make sure that the dollars that our residents will be sending to the school corporation through the referendum will be totally focused on making sure that our schools succeed, that we have the enrollment that we need, that we have the support that we need, and we don't want anything to detract from that. And a new charter school would do just that. I hope that we will continue to have engagement on this level. I hope that DUAB will come and visit as often as possible and be involved in the community as much as possible to get a sense of the needs and the desires of the city of Gary and its residents to have a very successful school corporation and to do whatever it takes to ensure that. I'm excited about the sectionals, which are beginning next week, and all the other activities that are happening, and look forward to seeing the results of the referendum as we go forward. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right. And then I also have Talithia Barrett. Ms. Barrett, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Today I am reporting what I believe needs to be some major corrections. I'm reporting a lack of transparency. As a parent, I've asked for different information and I have not received it. A lack of the ability to take reports. There are instances of threats, of violence that when I asked to make an incident report, I was denied the ability to have an incident report taken by your security guard that your MGT hired over all the schools. I am being denied due process when I reported threats of physical threats to me and my family. Not only did they deny me the ability to take an incident report, they've denied me an investigation. And the only way I've been able to speak or have anyone speak to me is through the advocacy of Mr. Buggs with the NAACP. Now that I have gotten a meeting because of Mr. Buggs, Paige McNulty is denying me the ability to have witnesses at this meeting, and that person includes Mr. Buggs. I have not been in contact with any person, not Courtney, not Ms. Page, before the help of Mr. Buggs. I want to make that clear. Also want to make sure that you guys understand that I am asking for due process along with many other citizens in Gary. Since this state takeover. Everything that we have to say has been literally ignored. And the people that we're asking to hear our voice does not look like us. Paige McNulty, she's Caucasian. DUAB is an all-Caucasian board. MGT, the only person we've met is Caucasian. We are a majority African-American city, and everyone that is denying us due process or the ability to have a voice are all Caucasian, and they are denying us our state constitutional rights, which is the ability to govern ourselves and have those that we voted into office be able to represent us. Mr. Buzz is being denied the ability to represent me, a citizen, a taxpayer, a parent, and a mother of a child in Gary Community School Corporation. That is unfair, and as a citizen, I am asking for my rights and my dignity to be respected no matter who oversees this. And I'm asking for your early contract to be ended, your contract to be ended early. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I believe that was all of the folks that I have. Just double checking real quick. Yes, I believe that's all of the messages I have received.
Great. Well, thank you everyone who provided comment. Appreciate taking the time to speak. Our next item of business is an update from Dr. McNulty regarding the Gary Community Schools, and I'm sure she'll tell us a little bit about how they've successfully returned to school this week. Eager to hear about that.
Yeah. Good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. And yes, we are so excited that we're finally back to school after almost a year of being on virtual learning. We were set at the time I sent this report to DUAB to start back on February 16th, but Mother Nature had other ideas for us. And so we ended up getting about 18 inches of snow here in Northwest Indiana, and then we had to deal with some snow removal issues. So we started back to school on February 22nd. I want to give a huge thank you to the union and to my administrative team and to all the teachers. They have worked very hard to ensure that the staff and students knew exactly what was expected. We had practice days. The classrooms, I think, look great. Procedures are in place, and I think that the parents have been communicated to well as far as what the expectations are. So far, so good. Everything is rolling very well. So Dexo's done a great job with the packaging of the food. Social distancing is going well. I think that we're off to a good start. We are very hopeful to be able to reopen the survey in about 2 weeks or so that we can ask for parents who didn't choose to send their kids back at this time if they would like to reconsider now that we've opened successfully, and they can maybe hopefully see that things are going well. So that's our hope, and we invite more students to look at that as we move forward. I also wanted to say that we did conduct our second ADM student count on February 1st. And again, when I did send the report in at that time, we had 85 students that had more students than the fall count, which is very exciting. After we did our final corrections, however, through the DOE, I know there's one more, we're at 68. So I want to make sure I say that for the record. We are up 68 kids from the September count, which is great news. So we hope to continue with that trajectory and have another 100 or so for the fall. In addition, I'm very excited to talk about our career technical education program because it continues to grow. And I know I've talked about it several times because I really believe it's a diamond in the rough. And we're very proud of the new strands that we've been able to offer at that program. And because school districts are noticing our CTE program and also our administrators there have been going out and meeting with the superintendents at our local vicinity, we have been able to enter into MOUs with some of our neighboring school districts who have never taken advantage of our CTE program before. So we'd like to welcome Griffith School District, who will be working with us for next year, 21st Century, Steel Academy, and Thea Bowman. And we believe we have 2 other public schools that will be signing with us shortly as well. So that's a huge, huge thing for us to be growing that enrollment and continue on with being able to add more strands as we move forward. As you heard a few minutes ago, our district was selected to host the sectional basketball tournament, and we're really excited about that. It's caused me to have many sleepless nights, I'm not going to lie. Hosting sectionals is a big undertaking, and it's even bigger during COVID land. So we're all working diligently so that we can have a very successful tournament. We have 7 teams that we're hosting. It starts March 2nd, and we'll have different teams here each night all the way up until the finals, which is that following Saturday. So we're excited. We're only going to be offering 25% capacity, so tickets have been sent out, but we will be selling whatever's left at the door. And all we have to say is go Cougars. We're excited for you. Also, we've had the referendum ambassadors. Applications were out. We've had over 60 community members that have applied for that, which we're really excited about. We are meeting tomorrow so that we can start looking at those applications with our PAC committee and then notifying people who are selected so that we can start meeting with them in the near future. But I think that denotes a lot of progress, showing that so many people from the community are interested in still being a part of our school and having a voice of what's happening here, and we welcome that. So we're excited for those opportunities. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. McNulty. Before we jump into questions, I know Rebecca Kubaki has joined us, so Courtney, if you want to.
Yep, actually, I think I just moved her up to panelist. I think we're all good.
Okay.
Thank
you. Dr. McNulty, what challenges have you found as you guys have reopened school this week? What's the what's been your biggest challenge, and how have you taken it on?
To be honest with you, the snow was a challenge. So our parking lots were cleared, but we were still having some difficulties getting some of the buses in and out of the parking lots, but we were able to solve that. And then just some of the, I'd say, communication between our staff and parents, making sure that we knew which kid was going to be on which bus, because we had to do some new bus routing. So we had a little bit of bus routing issues. But other than that, I think that the parents and teachers have done a phenomenal job because they've been talking virtually so much and making sure that they communicated. And so other than that, I don't, maybe Kim can chime in, but I didn't hear a lot of huge issues.
Good.
No, I would say not. I think you captured the few that we did. We were there the day that students came in for the first time, and the children were all very excited. The adults were excited. For many of them, it was like the first day of school because they, hadn't been physically in the building. The kindergartners, of course, and it was really nice to see the students back in the building in that way.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. And Chairman McAdam, this is Courtney. If I can just add, if any board members haven't already, I would highly encourage you to go out to the Gary Schools Facebook page. They do have a number of videos and photos from that first day, and really just heartwarming, and you can definitely see the excitement. And in addition, you can see all of the different protections and things that they have in place. I think as we heard through the public comments, they certainly have gone above and beyond in terms of ensuring safety for the students and teachers. So just would encourage you to take a look at that.
Thanks, Courtney. Yeah, definitely check that out. It's worth looking at. Other questions for Dr. McNulty from board members?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dr. McNulty, on a successful return to school and return to learn. And I'm certainly excited for you. And I know that many other schools across the state have been successful at this, including the one that my grandson attends. And I'm sure the kids are glad to be back in, and as well as the teachers and families. So I encourage all families to get their kids back in school. Tell me real quickly, with that much snow, with those extreme weather conditions, I know that we're going to be talking about it a little bit in regards to mechanical contract and so forth. How are your buildings holding up? 18 inches of snow is a lot of weight on a roof that's not in good condition, leaking possibly, et cetera, boilers that are 60 years old. How are your buildings holding up?
Our boilers are holding up with bubble gum and duct tape, to be honest with you. but they're running. So we haven't had anything that has shut down. The roofs do have leaks at some of the facilities, and so we are addressing those as we go along. But we haven't had any major issues. So knock on wood, things are rolling, and we haven't had any gigantic problems. And we've got a fantastic facility director who's keeping things as tight as he can. He's here day and night checking on the buildings for us.
Tell me, how's the new track coming?
Oh, I can't wait for you to come here to see it. So the track is, asphalt is down. It looks beautiful. And when the spring season gets here, then they'll put the hot seal over it and the striping. But already it looks like a beautiful track. And I hear from community members already asking when we'll be able to walk on it because they want to start walking laps. So it looks great.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Justin. What is your, percentage of kids in class, in the school building today? What would you say that percentage is? And as we roll forward and say that percentage increases, not to 100% maybe this school year, but say you get it up or upward amounts. Do you have the capacity to keep them at a properly separated and spaced to at least follow the guidelines so we can, maintain a healthy environment?
Yeah, great question. So currently we had 46% of our parents who opted to send their students back to school. And so we have 46% of those. And then in addition, we've encouraged many of our special ed parents those students needed some hands-on related services. So we have more of those students coming to school as well. And then we also made it mandatory for our seniors to come back to school. So they're all here because of credit. We want to make sure they're getting their credits towards graduation. So we have all of our seniors here in addition, and that's going very well. When we open up the next survey, we expect maybe to have another 10 or 20%, and we'll be just fine as far as being able to continue to socially distance our staff and students, especially with the new CDC guidelines. That's helped quite a bit. Now, will we get to 100%? I'll have to look at that again.
Do you have any specific grades that it's harder to keep the students from socially distancing as opposed to others? I've heard a few around where I live. It's that the K through 5 and 6 they pretty much follow that rule of keeping it on, and so do the upper. Because that middle group's a little harder to. The 13-year-olds is 13-year-old.
Yeah. So middle schoolers are a little more handsy, as we know, and so yes, we've been very diligent when trying to talk about that and enforce that. So they did a lot of using the first couple of days of school of going through lots of the procedures with the kids. And I would say the other group that we're working with a lot is the preschool kids, because they're doing a lot of rolling around on the floor and that type of stuff. So we are working with them as well.
Thank you.
Mr. McNulty, this is Rebecca Kabaki. The 47%, is that about what you expected?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to take a moment. I want to thank your teachers for their work and effort in getting things back to school and getting our kids back in school, and just appreciate their perseverance and dedication there to be a part of that and make it successful. Absolutely. They've been a huge piece of this, and they've been very flexible in trying to do what they need to do for what's best for kids. I've also talked with them, and I've been working with Methodist Hospital so that when the vaccinations become available, we're going to open up our schools as a vaccination site so that we can have our staff vaccinated here at the building. So we're moving towards that direction as soon as those vaccinations are available. That's fantastic. Great.
Mr. Chairman, I'd second your comment about the teachers. Been outstanding. So, Dr. McNulty, one quick. Can you give us a quick? First of all, let me compliment you and the team on the liquidation of properties. That seems to be going in the right direction, and so appreciate your efforts in that area. Can you tell us give us a quick rundown on what's going on with Roosevelt?
Yes, we we put it out for an RFP. Am I saying the right word, Eric?
RFI.
RFI, thank you. I knew I wasn't saying that right. RFI. And we did have some people, and I'll let Eric take this too. We did have some people respond, but there wasn't maybe a viable plan that we felt was something that we'd be able to work with. So we're continuing to meet with people that may be interested, and we probably will have to do another RFI. But we do have some interested parties that we're continuing to have conversations with.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to that. We created a two-step matrix rubric to evaluate the proposals we did get in the RFI request, and none of those initial proposals met the criteria in the first step, so we didn't go to the second step. And one of those was just viability. It's a massive project. We did get some interest from some people, some organizations that were willing to partner. They couldn't take on the entire lift, but were willing to be a part of it. And so that's what we've been doing since, is trying to see if we can take these organizations that want to be part of the solution and fit the puzzle pieces together into something that's feasible. So far, I haven't got there. But as Dr. McNulty said, the next step after that, if we just can't make that work, would be to reissue the RFI and learn from the first one how else can we do and spread the word further faster.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, we do have a number of things on our agenda. I'd like to move forward. Our next order of business will be the E-rate contracts. And is it Dr. McNulty or Eric who's going to take this one?
Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce Mr. Daryl Riddell, and he's my IT director.
Oh, right. Yes, Mr. Riddell.
Yeah, and so I'm going to let him discuss the E-rate contract, and I will certainly chime in as needed. But Mr. Riddell, it's all yours.
Well, Mr. Riddell, welcome back. It looks like you're still muted if you're talking.
I was just talking to myself, I was, but nonetheless, we did a E-rate RFP for Category 2. Category 2 includes things like cabling, switches, routers, things of that nature. So we completed that. We had about 5 companies that participated in the E-rate bid. The bid was won, or I would recommend that E&I would win the bid. They came out. We currently use them now. The bids was within range, and I had no problems with understanding what the prices were. The schools that we're looking at into creating things like the UPS, the switches, and cables. The cables also included Ethernet and fiber. The schools was Westside, Beveridge, Bailey, McCullough, and Banneker. Some of these schools will receive the UPSs, switches, and cabling will go to Westside, Beveridge, and Bailey. And the Gary School Corporation will pay 15% of the actual cost of the E-rate bid. The E-rate bid comes out roughly around $700, and we will be awarded $772,000 roughly, and that's based upon enrollment. So the enrollment goes up, then we get more money. So with that being said, we'll pay 15% of that amount, and that will cover and get a good footprint in our schools to make sure our network stays up. Some of our equipment is a little dated. That's why we went through and prioritized what was important, what was not important, what we needed now, what could wait. E-rate's a 5-year bid, so once this money is allocated, We have up to 5 years to use it. If we don't, we use all at 1 year, of course, we have to wait 4 more years to get that save a lot amount of money. Let's see. Was there any questions so far?
What just generally, as we're on the topic, what's the connectivity like at your schools? Not necessarily the connectivity with the one-to-one computing, but within the school, do you guys have good coverage for your buildings where you need it?
Yeah, to be honest with you, we haven't had everyone back yet to really get a good analysis. But so far, we haven't had any issues in the classrooms. Chromebooks are hooked up. I've added an additional what we call a Wi-Fi connection with the students so they can get on with no problem as soon as they hit the building, and that's in every building. So so far, our connectivity is really good. I have no problems. Nothing has been reported to me, and no help desk tickets have been completed that deals with issues with connectivity.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Riddell? All right. Well, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the contract.
Move.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the presented E-rate contract with an estimated cost of Gary School Corporation of $129,507.56 after consideration of the 85% E-rate funding.
Great. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? All right. Hearing none. Courtney, would you call the roll?
Yes. Paul Joyce?
Yes.
Wes Bennett?
Yes.
Tracy Brown?
Yes.
Rebecca Kubacki?
Yes.
And Justin McAdam?
Yes.
All right. 5-0.
All right. Motion carries. Our next item of business today is the Student Information System contract, and we do have Dr. McNulty and Mr. Riddell to present here on that as well.
Yeah, I'll start, Daryl, if that's okay, and then you can.
No problem.
Okay. So we currently have a student information system, and we are proposing to move to Skyward because it's a little more user-friendly as far as registration and also for the reporting purposes that we need for the Department of Education. So we've had some missing components that have happened with our current system because it's not compatible and they don't send those reports directly to the Department of Ed. So with this new Skyward system, it'll make it more transparent for parents. They can use Skyward off their phone. They will be able to see their students' records in real time and be able to enable teachers to be able to communicate with parents on a regular basis. And Daryl, I'll let you pick up the rest.
You did a great job. So not only that, overall, it will help with state reporting. It's more user-friendly than what we currently have. Most districts around here are using Skyward. You have the app. It's just a lot of great things. You can also put the health nursing component with it. So there's a lot of great things that we can that encompasses the Skyward platform. So it's a lot. It would be a lot better than what we have. It'll make counting our enrollment a lot easier to where if I need a report, I can generate it instead of asking someone. So it's a great platform for the Gary School Corporation. I call it, like I met with a couple of teachers and personnel a couple of weeks ago. I would like for this to be our flagship. The parents, it's user friendly for our parents as well. So it's a really great platform. I've really got a lot of great reviews upon it, and some of the research I've looked into, it's really good.
In addition, I would like to say that, again, that we won't have to do a la carte, which is kind of what we're doing now. Anytime we need a new report or something generated, we have to add a new help desk in and then have to pay for another system to be built or another report generated. So this would not be a la carte. Everything we needed is incorporated into this contract. special ed, nursing, transportation, it's all there.
I appreciate you outlining those benefits. I know this particular system is a little more expensive than the previous one we have, not really in a significant way, but I think it's helpful to understand why we would want to choose this over the other. And speaking as a parent who we don't use the Skyward system in my corporation, but elsewhere, I know that transparency and that communication is certainly a really important element to me, and really helps me feel more connected, certainly during COVID. With my kids' education than I otherwise would.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
When will this system? What's the plan to have this system stood up on a permanent basis?
Our goal is to, as soon as this board authorizes, we're ready to have a project manager with Skyward, and we're ready to go within the next 30 days. What we're going to do, and what I propose that we do, is we have Skyward. We're still going to keep bits and pieces of the Infinite Campus because we don't want to just shut it down completely. So therefore, we will have a dual one probably towards December-ish, give or take. But ultimately, within the next 30 days, because we want enrollment to start, we would like to see that going up and going within the next 30 days.
Mr. Riddell, and we can do this offline, but I'd be curious to see what kind of reports that generates for you. It's system's somewhat new to me, so I'd like to learn a little bit more about it when you get it stood up.
Not a problem.
And I plan to come up and make a visit up there with any of my other DUAB board members that'd like to come with me, so maybe we can look at it then.
Absolutely, and if you give me your email, because I believe in training, we're going to be presenting this out again to the teachers and to the staff. I have about 30 people that's going to be on our Skyward committee, and we're going to present it to them, and then we're going to go out and tell the parents and the teachers. It's going to be a really robust rollout. It's going to be our flagship. It's going to be a lot easier for teachers, parents to enroll. So yes, please send me your email. I'll get it from Dr. Page, and we'll include you in on some of our presentations. We look forward to you coming up.
Well, Wes, if we time it right, I'd certainly be happy to come with you. We'll have to talk to Dr. McNulty and figure out when a good time is, and we'll get some time.
About the time that I need a haircut and a lunch.
All right. Other questions for Dr. McNulty and Mr. Riddell on the Student Information System contract? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the presented contract with Skyward to a three-year term with an estimated cost of $122,963 for the initial year and annual renewals of $56,375.
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. Courtney, would you call the roll?
Paul Joyce?
Yes.
Wes Bennett?
Yes.
Tracy Brown?
Yes.
Rebecca Kubacki?
Yes.
And Justin McAdam?
Yes.
5-0.
All right, thank you. Motion passes. Our next item of business is the Gary Schools mechanical contract, and we do have Rob with us today to speak to that. Rob?
Hello, thank you. It's a pleasure to be with you again, see all of you again. Hopefully you are somewhat cleaned out from all the snow we've gotten here lately. The mechanical contract was put out for bid on December the 4th. We did break it into 3 different contracts, although the contractor that ultimately was awarded all 3 of them, but we wanted to bid them in 3 different ones so that it wouldn't necessarily be one contractor. We were hoping it might be cheaper for us doing it that way. The 3 contracts were for work at Bethune, Gary Middle School, and Bailey. That was again advertised again on December 11th. We had a pre-bid meeting on December 15th up in the Westside Leadership Academy's gym, and then the contractors were able to go out and physically visit the sites with our engineering group. And then bids were due on January the 8th. And so they were evaluated according to the rubric that we have established, and I think a copy of that is in each of the School Improvement Fund updates at the bottom. And I think the contractor was Premier, and they were awarded. They won the rubric for all three contracts. The total being $1,663,500. That was a little bit more than we had estimated. I think we estimated when we put the plan together at $1.2 million for all that work. There was a couple things that was added. One, we ended up having to replace a chiller tower that we weren't expecting we were going to do. And there was also quite a bit of masonry work. We're having to remove some walls because the old equipment's so large, we couldn't get it out without literally taking out some walls to slide these the old units out. The new units aren't as big, and so they're helpful or not as easy or not as hard to get in the building, but we have to get those old ones out. For the most part, that's pretty much my spill on mechanical contract, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, thanks, Rob. Appreciate that. One question regarding the local preference policy that we put in place. Well, not we, but you, the school corporation, adopted here recently. Did you have any bidders from the local area?
We did have one bidder from Gary, and unfortunately, I think they were, I have it written down here, they were about $270,000 high. And so the amount of that difference, it was just too much to overcome, even with the preference.
Sure. What percentage of the contract would that be? The $270,000 off the total.
Well, let's see. It's $1.6 million. So doing the math there real quick, probably about 20%. Okay. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Thank
you. Other questions for Rob?
Mr. President, please.
Go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, Rob,
upgraded to president, I'll note.
I'm sorry?
I've been upgraded to president from chairman. Thank you.
What? I guess I've been watching the legislative sessions too much, Mr. Chairman. Rob, I chuckled a little bit when you said you had to take out walls to get some of the old stuff out. You were reading my mind. I was hoping you wouldn't say you'd have to open some roofs to get some things out. So,
well, we tried not to do that, and that's why we ended up going with the wall instead of the roof.
Yeah. So, give me an idea of your how are you scoping? Or, well, I know the scope, but what's the timing? Are you kind of doing all these things at the same time? You're coordinating the replacement, and I assume the chiller was included in the 1.6 million, since that was, and then so what's your timing? And talk about the possibilities for change orders. What you might expect to see from possible change orders.
Sure. I think we have some contingency built in there, usually about 5%. So hopefully won't be too much of that. I would say that our architect firm did a very good job as far as, going through there. This bid does include, like you said, we were going to initially break this out into like boilers, and then we would do chillers later, but given the timing, how all this has come together, and we're going to be on site with walls open, we just decided we would do it all at one time. But along with this work, so you have the boilers, obviously, and you have the chillers, and like I said, we had to add some chiller tower there. But you have all the associated piping there's going to be new electrical work. Curbs have to be demolished and then reinstalled, so there's concrete work involved. So all of that has been planned and looked at as part of this bid. I'm trying to think. Oh, insulation was also part of it. Like I said, there's going to be some masonry work and demolition, as well as putting those walls back up. With any construction site or any construction job, I anticipate there'll be some sort of change order. But we're hoping that we'll be within our contingency and won't drive the price up.
Rob, what are your contingencies, or what are your contingencies? I guess it's not the best word, but what are you doing to make sure that it's as least disruptive as possible for the students in the learning environment?
Well, the great thing about the boilers and the chiller area, they are mechanical areas of the building, so most of the work can be done without a lot of disruption to the school. Of course, there could be some noise issues that we'll have to address. Once this is approved, then we still have to order the parts. A lot of the piping and things are going to be prefabbed off-site while we're waiting for the boilers and chillers to arrive. And then we also are going to wait to decommission the old boilers until the heating season is done. So we're probably looking at, late March, middle of April before that's going to happen. So most of the work will be done in earnest over the summer.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Other questions for Rob on this topic? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the presented contract with Premier Mechanical for an estimated cost of $1,663,500 for the installation of boilers and chillers at various Gary schools buildings.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. Courtney, would you call the roll?
Yes. Paul Joyce?
Yes.
Wes Bennett?
Yes.
Tracy Brown?
Yes.
Rebecca Kubacki?
Yes.
Justin McAdam?
Yes.
5-0.
All right, motion passes. Our final item of scheduled business is an update on the School Improvement Fund. Rob, back to you.
Sure. Not a whole lot of update except for the mechanical piece that you just heard. But also the roof bids have went out, or at least phase one. There's 4 of them in total. They are back, and we are scoring them right now. Hope to be done this week so we can start to send out award letters and the kind of negotiations on a contract and have that to you next month.
Fantastic. Rob, in terms of how are we running compared to the plan on the overall School Improvement Fund, based on the work we set out for ourselves? Obviously, the boiler and chiller work a little more expensive than we thought, but overall, where do we stand in a net position?
I think we're okay where we are. I mean, the playground at Beveridge was about twice what we thought it would be. I think we had anticipated $70,000, and we ended up spending $150,000. But really, that was our own doing, in that we ended up going with a little nicer surface there that was more expensive, and we upgraded the playground as well. And that, like I said, that is just a super nice playground. It's a flagship for the district as far as playgrounds go, and the community. Like I said before, the mechanical work was a little more expensive than we had estimated. The first, without giving away, too much information about the bid work, the first bid we got on roofing from Westside was a little lower than we expected. However, the next bid we got on the elementary school was a tad bit higher. I think overall we're pretty close. The biggest issue is that these roofs and mechanical jobs are high-ticket items as far as dollar amount. And although the 1065 fund is going to be $25 million, that's over 5 years. So trying to work out the pace so that we have the funds to pay for these projects as we go, especially with some of these higher ticket items, has had us shuffling a little bit around as far as what the plan was. And I know I'd already talked to Paige and to Eric about probably revising the plan as we come up on the 1 year mark here. It's probably just a good idea anyway, but just to say, all right, here's what we've been able to do like we said we were going to do. Here's some of the things that we had to move up. Here are the things we can move back, and kind of maybe have another 4-year plan for going forward after this first year.
I think that's prudent, and would appreciate seeing that when you guys are ready to talk about it.
Okay, cool.
Other questions for Rob?
Well, not a question, but a comment. But I can't tell you how happy I am you did the upgrade with the playground, because that's a visual that shows a great commitment to the community of the school and the importance that you place on the students, the people that live in Gary. I'm so happy you did that.
It's really nice. I have my playground inspection certification, so I know a lot about playgrounds, and it is one of the nicer playgrounds that I have seen, and it's like you said, it is a great visual, but also it's just such a nice thing that not only the students there, Beveridge, but the community can use after school hours. It's pretty nice.
It's a nice asset for the community. Thanks for doing that. Other questions or comments? All right. Well, I do believe do we have a claims docket this month as well, correct?
Yes, we do have a claims docket. I did send that separately to the board. It kind of summarizes the information that is included in the control docket in the original packet that was sent. You'll notice it does actually cover 2 months. It covers December and January, because we did not do an approval of a claims docket at our January meeting. So this will catch us up to where we are now.
Great. Rob, any comments you want to make on the claims docket, or have we covered it?
No, we've pretty well covered it. There are a few things on there that I know there's some floor finishings for like the gym at Westside Leadership Academy and for another school, part of that. But those are kind of some of the smaller projects that we're trying to squeeze in between these big ticket items.
Okay. Questions or comments for Rob on the claims docket? All right. With that, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the claims docket as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. Courtney, would you call the roll?
Yes. Paul Joyce?
Yes.
Wes Bennett?
Yes.
Tracy Brown?
Yes.
Rebecca Kubacki?
Yes.
And Justin McAdam?
Yes.
5-0.
Motion carries. All right, with that concludes our formal scheduled business for the day. Is there any new business to come before the board today? All right, hearing none, we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
As a reminder, there'll be a survey, as Courtney will tell us. That is not a DUAB survey, that is a WebEx survey.